What if one of the best ways to help cancer patients wasn't cooked up in some high-tech lab, but was found in nature's very first food? Today, we're diving into a fascinating study that found a potential ally against chemotherapy side effects in a very, very unlikely place: human milk.
So here's the big question. Could an ingredient, something nature literally designed for newborns, actually help cancer patients get through one of the absolute worst side effects of their treatment? Let's dig into the science behind this incredible idea.
Okay, so first things first, we've got to understand the problem these scientists are trying to tackle. Chemotherapy is a lifesaver, for sure, but man, it can be brutal on the body. We're going to zoom in on one specific and really, really nasty side effect.
And that side effect, it's called mucositis. I want you to imagine the entire lining of your digestive system. I'm talking from your mouth all the way down through your gut, getting super inflamed and just covered in painful sores. It's basically collateral damage from the chemo drugs. And this is where you see this horrible domino effect kick in. The ulcers in your mouth make it agonizing to eat, so you get malnutrition. Then the gut damage causes terrible diarrhea, which leads to dehydration and losing critical electrolytes, like magnesium. But here's the real kicker. This isn't just about feeling awful. They can get so bad that doctors have no choice but to stop or cut back the dose of the very chemotherapy that's saving your life.
So you're faced with this huge problem. Where do you even start looking for an answer? Well, these researchers, they looked somewhere totally unexpected. They found a really interesting clue in nature's original superfood.
And here it is, our unlikely hero. It's a special kind of complex sugar called a human milk oligosaccharide, or HMO for short. Now, what's wild is that these things are everywhere in human milk, but they're not really there to feed the baby directly. Nope, they've got a different job entirely. All right, let's zoom in on the specific one they looked at. It's called 2'-fucosyllactose, or just 2-FL. This is the most common HMO in human milk. And get this, a baby can't even digest it. Its job is to feed the good bacteria in a newborn's gut, basically building a healthy digestive system and a strong gut wall right from the get-go.
So the scientists didn't just use this 2'-FL by itself. They used a specific medical food called HuMOLYTE. And this is really important. It combines that special HMO with electrolytes, like magnesium, which, if you remember, is exactly what patients lose when they have mucositis. The idea was pretty simple, right? Maybe this combo could act like a powerful shield.
Okay, so you've got your problem, you've got your potential solution. What's next? You got to test it. Time to design an experiment and see if this whole idea actually works in the lab.
The setup was actually pretty simple, but really smart. You take two groups of lab rats. For 5 days, one group just gets regular water. The other group, they get water with HuMOLYTE mixed in. That's your pre-treatment. Then, on day 6, bam! Both groups get a dose of a chemo drug that's known to cause really bad mucositis. After that, for the next 5 days, it's all about watching and waiting, tracking their weight, their symptoms, and looking for any difference at all between the two groups.
All right, and this is the moment of truth. Did this special ingredient from human milk actually do anything? Well, the evidence was pretty incredible on a few different levels.
Let's start with the big picture, their weight. The rats that got one of the toughest chemo drugs, irinotecan, and only drank water, they lost on average almost 45 grams. But the HuMOLYTE group, they only lost about 25 grams. That is a 44% reduction in weight loss. That's a huge sign that something good is happening system-wide.
Okay, so the weight numbers are a big clue, but they don't really tell you what's going on inside the gut. To see that, the researchers had to look under the microscope. And what they saw was just, wow.
And here is the visual proof. Seriously, just look at this. On the left, that's the gut lining from a rat that just got chemo. It's a disaster, right? The whole structure is just destroyed. Now, look at the right. This rat also got chemo, but it was pre-treated with HuMOLYTE. You can see how those long finger-like structures are still there. The tissue is basically preserved. It is a night and day difference. Absolutely stunning.
And you might be thinking, was this just a fluke? Nope. They ran the experiment again with a totally different chemo drug, and look, it's the same story. On the left, the chemo-damaged tissue is all flattened and inflamed, but on the right, in the HuMOLYTE group, that healthy, organized structure is still there. This protective effect was amazingly consistent. And remember how we said mucositis affects the whole digestive tract? Well, the researchers checked the tissue in the mouth, too. And, you guessed it, same results. On the left, you see the damage from chemo. On the right, the tissue from the HuMOLYTE group looks so much healthier.
This suggests the protection wasn't just happening in the gut, it was happening all the way from top to bottom.
Okay, so we've got solid data, we've got these dramatic microscopic images from an animal study, but what does it all really mean? Let's zoom out a bit and talk about why this research could be a really big deal.
You know, I think the study authors themselves said it best. They wrote that this approach can reduce the burden of mucositis, which is a debilitating side effect of chemotherapy with limited therapeutic options. That really hits the nail on the head. It's a huge unmet need in cancer care. Now, we have to be clear this is still an early-stage study, and it was done in rats. But what it does is it opens up a brand new door. It gives us some really strong early evidence for a new way to help make chemotherapy more bearable. And that could potentially mean patients can get their full treatment, all while having a much better quality of life.
And that just leaves us with this one last, really incredible thought. That a solution to a problem created by our most modern, advanced medicine might have been hiding in our most ancient, basic form of nutrition all along. It's just an amazing reminder that sometimes the answers we're looking for have been right there with us the whole time.